In a flash, a peculiar silver light burst forth beside Han Li, as a silver talisman shot from Sichuan Kong's glabella, exploding with a force that shook the air. The silver radiance swept over them both, and in an instant they vanished, leaving the battlefield behind. The golden rhinoceros king's mighty stomp crushed the green jade flying carriage beneath his foot. Yet Han Li and Sichuan Kong had already disappeared. Roaring in fury, the golden rhinoceros king gazed into the distance, preparing to continue his pursuit. But then, his expression shifted as he halted abruptly, sensing a dark cloud appearing on the horizon. He watched it for a moment, clearly hesitant, before deciding to retreat. His massive form returned to his golden carriage, and he retraced his steps, vanishing into the distance. Far off, nearly 100,000 kilometers away, Han Li and Sichuan Kong emerged from the earth. As disheveled and wearied, blood stained the corner of Sichuan Kong's lips as he panted heavily. "Did the golden rhinoceros king pursue us?" Han Li inquired, looking around cautiously. "We've entered the Black Weasel King's domain." The golden rhinoceros king likely hesitated, knowing that if he ventured too far, he'd risk encountering the Black Weasel King himself. He wouldn't survive such an encounter, Sichuan Kong explained with a rasping breath. "That talisman. It saved us," Han Li remarked. "What was it?" Sichuan Kong chuckled bitterly. "One of the few life-saving talismans my father gave me. It's a one-time use, but it's powerful enough to whisk us away from danger." Han Li's brow furrowed. "Before the talisman activated, I sensed an aura as powerful as the golden rhinoceros king's." It felt ominous. "That aura was likely the Black Weasel King's," Sichuan Kong confirmed. "I chose to flee here, not just because he's the golden rhinoceros king's rival, but also because his nature differs from the other 10 hazards." "How so?" Han Li asked, intrigued. "His true form is a demon beast, but his cultivation art is of Immortal Realm origin, rather than our Holy Realm. This makes him less bloodthirsty and more cultured," Sichuan Kong replied, a mocking smile flickering across his face. "He's a scholar of sorts, having even traveled to mortal lands disguised as a learned man." "A scholarly demon beast? That's a first," Han Li mused, raising an eyebrow. "Indeed, but don't be fooled. He may have scholarly airs, but he's still a beast at heart. I've heard he once failed the imperial exams of a mortal nation 3 times, and in his anger he devoured the emperor and several key officials," Sichuan Kong added with a smirk. Han Li grimaced. "Sounds like we can't rely on his goodwill. We should make our exit soon." "No need for haste," Sichuan Kong countered. "The Black Weasel King has kept good relations with Night Sun City. He's intentionally distancing himself from the 10 hazards label. As long as we stay out of trouble, we'll be safe." Han Li paused. "And Black Weasel City?" "The 10 Hazards mountain range holds a rare spirit material, purple sun-warm jade. It aids in harmonizing the body and nascent soul. One of my subordinates, Feng Lin, seeks this material, and it may even help cure Weeping Soul," Sichuan Kong explained. Han Li's hesitation was evident. "But I'm not of demonic blood. Won't that pose a problem?" Sichuan Kong smiled knowingly. "You possess a demonic cultivation art yourself. Release its aura and you won't need to take on a full demonic form." Han Li's Provenance True Devil art surged forth, golden scales coating parts of his body. "That's more than enough," Sichuan Kong nodded approvingly. "Let's go." "It's still a long way to Black Weasel City, and your carriage is destroyed, so we'll use mine." With a flick of his hand, Sichuan Kong summoned a black carriage, adorned with devilish patterns. It was every bit as grand as the previous one. "Lead the way," Han Li said, climbing aboard the carriage. For over a month the duo journeyed, remaining vigilant but unchallenged. The golden rhinoceros king had not pursued them further, but both kept their guard high. At last they neared their destination, Black Weasel City. As they neared the edge of the 10 Hazards mountain range, the land became quieter and their journey smoother. A peculiar dark purple lake lay ahead, its waters teeming with life, but its strange hue was a testament to its mystic origins. "This is Purple Fen Lake," Sichuan Kong explained. "The lake is home to rare fen jade, which is linked to purple sun-warm jade. It's one of the only places in the Holy Realm where you can find it." "Let's get moving," Han Li urged, eager to find a solution for Weeping Soul. "We'll need to disguise ourselves first," Sichuan Kong cautioned. With a chant, he transformed into a muscular man, his limbs covered in dark fur, resembling a beast of the 10 hazards. Hanli followed suit, adopting the form of a horned youth with purple hair and green eyes, his disguise flawless, blending his mantra domain and provenance true devil arts to perfection. The two took flight toward the lake, but as they neared, a massive black island loomed before them. Black Weasel City sprawled across it, its towering walls shimmering with purple patterns that hummed with energy, guarding the city with both elegance and power. As they approached, more ships appeared on the lake, heading toward the city. Hanli observed them with a curious look. "Those demon beasts," he murmured. "They've attained human forms, despite their low cultivation bases. They're of low bloodlines," Shi Chuan-Kong explained. "Beastly cultivators can adopt human forms, but the weaker their bloodline, the sooner they can make the change. These are low-grade beings." Hanli nodded, their journey into the heart of Black Weasel City now imminent. Hanli stroked his chin and said thoughtfully, "So in the Devil Realm, bloodlines are weighed heavier than mountains." "In our holy realm, strength rules above all," Shi Chuan-Kong replied with a sigh. "The weak tribes are enslaved by the strong, and nowhere is the hierarchy harsher than in the 10 Hazards mountain range. Among the 10 Hazards, only the Black Weasel King shows some mercy, which is why many low-grade tribes have fled to his lands." Hanli merely listened in silence. By then, Black Weasel City had already risen before them. From afar it was imposing, but up close it was like a colossal beast guarding the sea. Towering black walls traced the coastline, broken at intervals by massive gates. Each gate opened directly onto docks where enormous ships rested, sails fluttering like forest canopies. The cries of merchants and sailors blended into a roaring tide of life. "For a city built by demon beasts, it rivals those of the Immortal Realm," Hanli remarked. "The Black Weasel King maintains close ties with the mortal world and encourages trade," Shi Chuan-Kong said. "Though few high-grade tribes dwell here, the city's overall strength is far from weak." "A ruler with vision, then," Hanli said lightly. "To some extent," Shi Chuan-Kong answered, his expression oddly complicated. Hanli noted it, but did not press. The two descended toward a nearby gate, where black armored soldiers inspected arrivals. The checks were perfunctory. After a brief exchange and the passing of a few black crystals, they were waved through. Inside, Hanli nodded in quiet approval. The streets were broad and spotless, paved with smooth black stone. Buildings stood in neat rows, their facades well maintained. Carriages lined both sides of the road, each pulled by dark green beasts with horse bodies and worm-like heads. A short youth with dark red scales on his hands and feet hurried over, eyes bright with eagerness. "First time in Black Weasel City. Seniors? Hire my carriage, just one top-grade devilstone a day. I'm Lu Shi. I grew up here and know every street like my own palm." "Why so many carriages?" Shi Chuan-Kong asked. "Is flying forbidden?" "Yes," Lu Shi said quickly. "The Black Weasel King placed restrictions in the sky. No one may fly within the city, only walk or ride." Shi Chuan-Kong glanced at Hanli, then nodded. "We're here to buy some things. Serve us well and you'll earn 2 stones a day." Lu Shi nearly bowed to the ground in delight. This junior will do his utmost. They climbed aboard, and the green beast surged forward like gusting wind, the scenery streaking past. "Are there many taboos in the city?" Hanli asked calmly. "The strictest is no fighting, no matter the reason. Offenders are captured and stripped of cultivation. There's also a nightly curfew. When night falls, you must leave the streets. Either exit the city or stay in an inn. Anyone wandering after dark is severely punished." "A curfew?" Hanli frowned slightly. Flight bans and battle prohibitions were understandable, but cutting the city's activity in half seemed absurd for a bustling trade hub. "It's the Black Weasel King's rule," Lu Shi said awkwardly. "He believes people should return home at night, and that roaming the streets after dark is improper." Hanli was momentarily speechless. Whatever grand reason he had imagined vanished like smoke. His impression of the Black Weasel King shifted at once, and Shi Chuan-Kong's earlier strange expression suddenly made sense. "Tell us about the city's layout," Shi Chuan-Kong said, smoothly changing the topic. Relieved, Lu Shi launched into explanation. "Black Weasel City is divided into 9 areas. The 3 central zones belong directly to the Black Weasel King and his army. Of the remaining 6, 3 are vast residential districts for low-grade tribes. Nothing special there. Two are residences for high-grade tribes and powerful cultivators like yourselves. The last is the trading district, where the city's finest shops gather. Almost all premium materials and devil treasures are sold there. There's a small entrance fee, but it shouldn't trouble seniors. We're seeking purple sun warm jade, Shi Chuan said. Do you know where it's sold? Lu She shook his head apologetically. That jade is extremely rare and produced here. Demand always exceeds supply, and someone of my standing can't access such market information. I can only take you to the top shops and hope you find it. That will do, Shi Chuan replied. An hour later, the carriage halted before a towering inner gate. Shorter walls separated the districts, and beyond this gate rose rows of grand, ornate buildings. Streams of cultivators flowed in and out like a living river. The trading district had arrived. Black armored guards blocked the carriage. One high-grade devil stone per person, one guard said coldly. 3 stones in total. Lu She glanced back with embarrassment. He had not mentioned this unspoken rule. Shi Chuan merely flicked his wrist, sending 3 stones flying into the guard's hand. They were allowed through at once. Thank you, Senior, Lu She said gratefully as the carriage rolled onward. Soon they stopped before a 5-story pavilion that looked plain compared to its surroundings, yet customers constantly entered and exited. Above the entrance hung a plaque, Floating Gold Pavilion. One of the city's oldest and largest shops, Lu She said. It's been operating for over 10,000 years and has deep resources. Please browse inside. I'll wait here. Han Li and Shi Chuan stepped down. Han Li subtly swept his senses around, finding nothing suspicious. The moment they crossed the threshold, faint waves of devilish chi washed over them. Their vision blurred, and then abruptly opened into a colossal hall stretching thousands of feet wide. Han Li's brows rose slightly. As expected, the space within dwarfed the exterior. That earlier fluctuation clearly carried a probing aura meant to assess cultivation, but with both of them concealing their strength, it posed no threat. Towering display cabinets lined the hall. To the left were raw materials of every kind. To the right were pills, weapons, and devil treasures. Everything was arranged with meticulous order. Behind each cabinet stood green-robed attendants with warm, practiced smiles, most in fully humanoid form, with barely a trace of beastly features. A beautiful female attendant approached and bowed respectfully. Welcome to Floating Gold Pavilion, seniors. Esteemed guests at the true immortal level deserve an administrator's service. Please allow me to guide you. Lead on, Shi Chuan said lightly, as though strolling through drifting clouds. The green-robed woman guided them into a private booth where spirit fruits glistened like jade and fragrant tea steamed in slender cups. These dark fruits and spring mist tea are treasures of the 10 Hazards Mountains. Fellow Taoist Li, please enjoy, Shi Chuan said. Han Li lifted the cup, sipped once, and nodded faintly. Just then the door slid open. A young woman in pink entered, petals blooming in the air around her steps, sweet fragrance spreading like spring rain. I am Mei Lan, administrator of the Floating Gold Pavilion. Apologies for the wait. Her aura was deep and vast, peak golden immortal. Han Li's gaze sharpened. A tree spirit, most likely, and one with refined cultivation arts. Such a figure serving as an administrator was no accident. A silent pressure meant to seize initiative. Yet Han Li and Shi Chuan remained unmoved, calmly sipping tea. Mei Lan paused inwardly, then smiled and sat. How may I serve you, esteemed guests? Shi Chuan casually produced a storage bracelet and tossed it over. We've heard Floating Gold Pavilion reigns among Black Weasel City's shops. We come to do business. This is the deposit. Mei Lan inspected it, and her breath caught. 500,000 devilish origin stones lay stacked like mountains of night crystals. She quickly masked her shock. Our pavilion is honored. What do you seek? Amusement flickered in Han Li's eyes. Her cultivation pressure had been met with a storm of wealth. Shi Chuan had already taken the upper hand. We wish to purchase high-grade purple sun-warm jade, Shi Chuan said plainly. Mei Lan's expression shifted. You are unwilling? He asked. Not so, she replied awkwardly. But purple sun-warm jade is exceedingly scarce. We possess not even mid-grade, only low-grade at best. We'll pay 30% above market, Shi Chuan said calmly. As long as the quality is true. Mei Lan shook her head with a bitter smile. You are likely not from this city. Though Black Weasel City produces it, the output is tiny, and most is controlled by the Black Weasel King. Even we hold only a small amount, all low grade. A shadow crossed both men's faces. So you cannot help us, Shi Chuan Kong said. On this matter, I am powerless. Please forgive me. Shi Chuan Kong retrieved the bracelet while regret flashed across her features. You said you have low-grade jade, Han Li spoke suddenly. Bring it for us to see. Joy sparkled in her eyes. Please wait. After she left, Han Li sealed the room with restrictions. Truth or deception, he asked. I used a verification art. She spoke honestly, Shi Chuan Kong replied. Then high-grade jade will be hard indeed. We try our best. Low-grade has mediocre soul nurturing effects, little use to us. If it can save Weeping Soul, we cannot ignore it, Han Li said quietly. Shi Chuan Kong only smiled. Soon, footsteps returned. Mei Lan entered carrying a purple jade box. This is all our pavilion possesses. Inside lay several dozen fist-sized crystals glowing faintly violet, marred by flaws that dulled their brilliance. Han Li lifted one, warmth seeped into flesh and spirit alike, wrapping his soul like a spring breeze. His eyes brightened. These are low-grade yet still precious, Mei Lan said. What do you think? How much? She named a price 10% above market. Han Li agreed without bargaining. With his current wealth, it was nothing. Payment was made. Gratitude exchanged. The two departed, Mei Lan escorting them to the entrance. Lu Xie rushed forward. How did it go, seniors? Mind your task. Take us to the next shop, Shi Chuan Kong said coldly. Lu Xie shuddered and obeyed. They moved from towering pagodas to grand halls, visiting 6 or 7 great shops before nightfall, buying out every scrap of purple sun-warm jade they could find. That night, they lodged at an inn. Han Li set layers of formations, light barriers rippling like water, then stepped through silver radiance into the flower branch domain. Within the bamboo pavilion, Weeping Soul lay unconscious. Her skin was pale as thin jade, black chi drifting from her body like dying smoke. Han Li's face darkened. Her condition had worsened, essence leaking faster than before. With a wave of his sleeve, jade boxes appeared, over 200 pieces of purple sun-warm jade, all low grade. Though lacking higher quality, he hoped sheer quantity might hold her life in place. Yet such sweeping purchases surely drew attention across Black Weasel City. Fortunately, the city bustled with merchants from all realms. Their actions blended into the tide. Still, after discussing with Shi Chuan Kong, they resolved to remain one more day to gather more jade, then depart swiftly to avoid hidden storms. Han Li clasped 3 pieces of purple sun warm jade in his hand, their purple glow faint as he positioned them over Weeping Soul's forehead, heart, and abdomen. The light shimmered briefly, only to return to its former state, not as powerful as he had hoped. His brows furrowed as he sat cross-legged, studying her. Moments passed, but neither the crystals nor Weeping Soul changed. Han Li sighed, knowing the jade was of low grade, but still expecting a better result. Rising with a heavy heart, he laid out a hexagonal array on the ground, its slots prepared. A wave of his hand and the jade pieces were set within the array. As his incantation rang out, the array glowed, and the jade surged with purple light, tracing the lines of the formation to encircle Weeping Soul's body. Her aura steadied, the dissipation of her essence slowing, but not halted. Han Li's eyes darkened. Though the array he crafted had elevated the jade's effectiveness, it was still insufficient. To further aid her, only mid-grade jade would suffice. But such resources were beyond his reach. A resigned sigh escaped him. The only hope lay in seeking the Grand Priest of Night Sun City, and with that, Han Li resolved to take Weeping Soul there. But with only 200 pieces of low-grade jade at hand, he would need more. He vowed, with determination, I will save you, Weeping Soul. With that, he departed the space and returned to his room for the night. The morning passed uneventfully. At the inn, Han Li and Shi Chuan Kong settled their bill and prepared to leave. Han Li proposed, we should split up to visit more shops. We don't have much time. Shi Chuan Kong agreed, urging Han Li to be cautious and maintain contact. Han Li added, if you find any low-grade purple sun-warm jade, please buy it for me. I'll compensate you afterward. Shi Chuan Kong refused the compensation, citing a debt owed to Weeping Soul for saving his life. Han Li expressed his thanks before they parted ways. By midday, Han Li, guided by Lu Xie, had visited several shops, but progress was slow. Fewer than 100 pieces of jade had been acquired, As he emerged from a shop with a troubled look, Lu Shi approached him with an uneasy expression, holding a black voice transmission talisman. "Someone gave me this for you," Lu Shi explained. Han Li accepted it, his brows knitting as he read the message. "I have information on Purple Sun Warm Jade." He immediately asked, "Who gave you this?" but saw no one of interest. Lu Shi explained that the person had left quickly, directing Han Li to the Plum Forest tea house if he wished to meet. Han Li instructed Lu Shi to take him there. Once in the tea house, Han Li was met by a black-robed young man who gestured for him to follow. The man introduced himself as Hei Lang, and after sealing the booth with black flags, he revealed himself to be a true immortal cultivator of the devil race. Han Li, unfazed, asked directly, "Do you have information on Purple Sun Warm Jade?" Hei Lang confirmed with a smile. He handed Han Li a jade slip containing a detailed list of his jade stock, over 500 low-grade pieces, nearly 50 mid-grade, and even 2 high-grade ones. Han Li's heart stirred with hope, but he asked, "How do you possess so much?" Hei Lang explained, "I do not waste time with deceit." He then quoted a price that was lower than market value, raising Han Li's suspicion. Yet the price was right, and Han Li, intent on securing the jade and leaving Black Weasel City, agreed to purchase everything. Before they could finalize the deal, however, Hei Lang had more to say, and Han Li braced himself for what came next. Han Li and Hei Lang sat across from each other, the room heavy with tension. Hei Lang hesitated before speaking, revealing that he could provide the coveted Purple Sun Warm Jade, but it wasn't in his possession. Han Li, his brow furrowed, cut him off, irritated that a deal was being discussed with someone else's stock. Hei Lang's temper flared, slamming his fist onto the table, knocking over teacups in his anger. He quickly apologized, but Han Li remained composed, pressing for clarity. Hei Lang reassured Han Li that there was no danger, only negotiation tactics were needed to sway the current owner. Han Li, ever cautious, agreed to help, but insisted on bringing his companion, Shi Chuankong, into the fold. Hei Lang agreed without hesitation, and the trio set off, reaching a secluded shop after winding through the streets. The place seemed ordinary, with little business happening inside, and a thin, middle-aged shopkeeper greeted them. Hei Lang, ignoring the shopkeeper's offer to browse the wares, led them deeper into the shop. Han Li and Shi Chuankong exchanged glances, sensing something was off. The shopkeeper led them to a hidden room, where a barrier sealed them off from the outside. It was then that Han Li, with a smile, asked the shopkeeper to drop the pretense and reveal his true form. The man's true identity, a cultivator at the Golden Immortal stage hiding behind an aura concealment technique, was now exposed. After some tense exchanges, Hei Lang revealed his own secret. He wasn't the man they thought him to be. Disguised, he transformed into a thin, dark-skinned young man, his voice now sharp and raspy. The shopkeeper, recognizing him as Hei Lang, was visibly shaken. The tension in the room thickened as Hei Lang warned the shopkeeper, revealing that the Black Weasel army was hunting them down and that any harm to him would bring swift consequences. The shopkeeper's killing intent flickered, but Han Li and Shi Chuankong remained calm, ready for whatever came next.